one of us could remember anything. So we sat there looking at each other. We got to talking about what was at that time the upcoming 45th anniversary of the Woodstock Festival. And we were getting annoyed because we found out that they were trying to put together some kind of an event, reunion, whatever it was, and we just thought it was wrong. I mean, 45 was great for a birthday and anniversary or something. You don't celebrate Woodstock on the 45th. You wait for the 50th. And so we talked ourselves into a feeding frenzy about it, and we called up the promoters right then and there, and we said, what the hell are you guys thinking? They said, well, we're just thinking about the 50th, but you might all be dead by then. Get a point. Anyway, I remember the 40th anniversary. That was bad enough. By that time, we was all into this 24/7 news, people talking all the time on TVs and radios and everything. And I remember just prior to the 40th anniversary, they was all trying to get a hold of anybody who had anything to do with the festival for their big 30-second story on the subject. And I didn't want to do it because they was all asking the same thing, you know, like, Arlo, what was it like, man? Been in Woodstock, dude. I thought, well, first of all, they don't actually talk like that except to me, and that was annoying. And I told them all the same thing anyhow. I said, hey, I just remember getting there. I mean, it's not a whole interview worth, you know what I'm saying? So I thought, why bother? I mean, don't get me wrong, I remember some stuff. I remember earlier that year, in the spring of 1969, I had bought a brand new car. Guys remember that stuff. And it was one of these Checkers. And they used to use it for taxis in some of the big cities because you could fit entire families in one car. And I thought, man, if that's true, I can get the whole band in that thing. So I went out and bought a brand new Checker, and sure enough, it was me and all my guitars and all my stuff, and a big guy with a big double bass back in those days and all his stuff. Another guy with a full set of drums and all his stuff. Another friend played guitar, all of his guitars, all of his stuff, their girlfriends, all of that stuff. I mean, we hadn't even opened the trunk yet. All this fun, you know. And we went to Woodstock like that, and of course, the closer we got to it, the more traffic there was, until finally it just come to a dead standstill. And everybody got out and started walking, and it was still miles away. And so they rerouted us to some motel, and they was going to pick us up in a helicopter and fly us into the site. It was the only way to get in there. And I was excited because I was a kid. I'd never been in nothing like that. So it was me, Richie Havens, some others, and we get in this chopper, and the thing takes off. And the door stays open. And no matter how high we went, there was people as far as the eye could see, you know, everywhere. And in the chopper with us was 2 New York State troopers, one on either side of the open door. On one side, there was the big John Wayne kind of guy, and on the other was a little Barney Fife kind of guy. And they was looking down there the same as us. And I remember the big one looked at the little one and said, there's a lot of hippies down there. And the little one said, yep. And the big one said, I bet they're doing lots of illegal stuff. The little one said, yep. And the big one said, well, I'm not going down there, nothing, are you? The little one said, nope. And that's when I realized we were going to have a pretty good time at that festival. I was not mistaken. Got there on the first day of that 3-day event, and I was under the impression I was playing the next day or something, so I figured I had the day off, and I'm walking around backstage saying hi to people like what you would imagine, and eventually I wander out on this big field with hundreds of thousands of people, mud, rain, total catastrophes of all kinds, and I was doing what everybody else was doing. So at some point later that afternoon, I had a serious case of the munchies. I needed to get something to eat, something to drink. And there was nothing. So I thought, I'll go backstage. I went backstage looking for food. They didn't have nothing there either. All they had backstage was 147 cases of champagne they're saving for the end of the event. And by the end of the first evening, that was gone. I don't remember how many cases I was personally responsible for. But between that and the other stuff we was doing that day, it came as a surprise when somebody come up and said, Arlo, you got to play now, man. I said, I can't play now, man. I'm not even here now. I'm coming tomorrow. They said, no, you're here now, man. You got to play now, man. I said, I can't play now, man. I can't walk now, man. They said, we don't care about that. Richie Havens been up playing for hours and nobody else. You got to play now, man. And I was too young to realize I could have said no. So I grabbed my big 12-string guitar, walk out on this huge stage, and in the middle of that big stage, they had a circular stage built right in, so that while the guys in front was playing, you could sit guys up behind them, and when they were done playing up front, just twist the stage around, not be wasting time breaking down the first band, setting up the second one. It was a great idea. I mean, it didn't work, but it was a great idea. And in the middle of the circular stage, they had a big hole for all the cables and mic lines, wires, all that stuff. And they didn't tell me about the hole. I wasn't looking for the hole. I'm looking at more people I knew I'd ever see again in my life at one time. And I was looking at them like you could back then. Each one individual. That's when I remember falling through time and space. Then the most unbelievable thing happened. I moved through the molecular structure of the wood itself, and I rematerialized on the other side of the hole on stage, almost completely intact.